trying to look for that today on Google if I can find anything.
That was probably before the time of cell phones and video cameras. He got that one in under the rug.
He opened for Kiss. Whenever he comes up here while he's in the middle of talking to me, I'll be like, hey, what was your name?
Coming out.
I don't remember.
Until afterwards, baby.
He opened for Kiss. He was a ventriloquist as a child. Wait, hold on. He was on TV. He was on. Was that not it? He was on TV for something. He was an actor in. Well, he was a. Dang it. We'll find out in class. We'll get back with you because all the three things I said I could not guess.
Right.
Was
Those are all very wild things.
I was like, there's no way. I thought his lie was the Kiss thing. I was like, Kiss is a pretty big band. I was like, I don't know about that. But he actually did.
Move it around.
Was he in a band?
So when it only says like emphatically or
Hi.
only when it says emphatically.
Okay, he's still in the
Turn
back.
around each time, but like when it's excited or something, or right there, you can do it three times and move it around.
Was it that he's never had a cat? No.
Yeah.
That was so lame.
Anything
That
like
would be
that.
lame for what he said. What did he say? No, you said you never got stung by something, which was a
That's
lie.
not like
No,
Oh,
yeah.
what? Just where it says
Wait.
church.
That was
Or
pretty.
even a church.
You never
you
got
can do
stung by
like-
anything? What
Walk
was your
for a
lie?
bee.
So just go. That's how birds.
We're gonna change that today. I'm gonna bring you one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna personally bring
Like
all the
cheerful
bees
things,
your
you can do
way.
more than that.
Okay.
I'm gonna do my bee call.
That's right.
You ever heard of bee calling? It's gonna be the best one you ever heard.
I have never practiced this one.
Dang it.
I hadn't practiced except in
You don't go around and fall. Knock everybody over if you don't sit still.
my ears.
Huh?
My ears hurt. Can you feel all the screams?
That's not bad.
My ears are sore.
What are you looking at? Silly boy.
Here, I'll take one of these leaves and roll it up and shove it in your ears so you'll block out the sound of it.
You know what goes on?
Brother laws.
You got about 6 minutes
Brother laws. Brother laws.
till the whole thing starts, not till your turn.
Brother laws.
Like,
Dang it. I need to remember. I need to know
Sing
where
a couple
it was.
songs and then they do the verse and then the
Hey,
VBS turn.
hey. What was your lie? What was your lie?
Oh, karate.
Black belt and karate.
That's the lie?
I'm not a black belt in karate.
What was your band? What was your band?
Another time.
Dang it.
What was your
Gosh,
first
dang.
They played two truths and a lie yesterday, I guess.
Oh.
No, well, it might have been the other day, the Tuesday night. It might have been Tuesday. He said, the lies, I guess it was black belt and karate. He opened for the band Kiss.
Yeah, he did. He was a big singer, so. He
What?
Did. Yeah, him and Stacy too. But yeah, they are.
Oh my God.
They got their own songs and stuff.
And he was
You
a
better go
tall
quick.
ventriloquist.
Go.
So I don't know why.
Yeah,
It's
so
going to be a little bit before.
I said, show me your skills.
I didn't know he opened for Kiss, but I know that he used to do that.
I was like, that's gotta be a lie. Kiss is really big. And he was like, I did.
Well, he did. I mean, I guess he did. 'Cause like I said, he lived in Nashville, and he did have a lot of songs. Still got a lot of songs on YouTube and stuff. Him and Stacey does.
Crazy.
You should be okay.
Sneak out.
Well, right now you don't have to necessarily sneak out, so just run and go real fast. Just leave Milo here.
We'll take care of Milo. He'll be okay. Yeah. He'll take a little bit.
Wash your hands.
Milo, are you sure you're supposed to bend like that? Milo, are you okay?
No idea.
Back problems.
Milo, you good? Hey, Rylan, you dropped this. Oh.
Okay.
Oh, dang. How excited are you for VBS?
It's my fourth. I mean, it's fourth night.
I've been here 4 nights, but I got a night off. Are you jealous? Yeah, I knew you would be. When do we get our perfect attendance awards, man?
Better get something out of this.
We should be on A honor roll.
Like you would do if you was joyful.
Get it.
I would knock this whole chair over.
You just don't knock the whole thing over.
I would knock this whole building over.
Don't pull a grant. Knock the whole.
True. Alright, don't flip it. Because it's just made out of little pieces of wood, baby.
Oh no.
It's the same on the bottom as it is on the top. Should be a little bit bigger on the bottom.
I like how you said that line the first time. Oh no. I like how you said that line the first time. God planned for everything, every animal, every plant. I mean, every star, every planet. Yeah, you did. Every animal, every star, every planet.
I didn't have time to look over this. I'm just making it up.
I'm just making it.
I'm trying to give him a mohawk. How do I give him a mohawk?
If you say planet again, I may die of laughing and it will catch on the screen.
I want to give him a mohawk.
I don't know what it is, but these coats we've been getting in class, they've been getting different. I don't know. I ain't never tasted a better Coke than the ones they've been giving us, especially when they're really cold. They've been good.
So, if they introduce
Are you one of the crazy ones that's only been drinking
and
water?
you stand up to where they can see you, you get up on this because I'm not going to stand up, okay?
There's a few of them that are like, no kind of Coke is going to
When
fly.
they introduce them, you don't stand up.
I was drinking
Oh my
Sprite.
God.
So you get up here on this because
I
I'm
want
standing
some
up.
sugar.
They don't know I'm back here.
Some caffeine.
You're just trying to get up, roll it around.
Just gonna roll out
So,
of here.
Rowan, are you so jealous of my hair?
Could just pick this up and just roll on out.
Let me grab a tree.
No.
Walk behind
Why
it.
not?
It's easy last night, like
Got better.
swing on out of here. Just swing on out of here.
I feel like if I need to like bust down the door, I could
I don't
with
think
her head.
I don't think I told you, but Brady said
I
she
feel
would
like it has that power.
Use that as a weapon.
See, I think it's the puppets with the blue eyes
And I
that
never
scare me.
thought about it. She said, I could hear you saying,
Like, look at this puppet in the eye for long enough.
And
Like,
I went and
it's
watched
like,
today and I said, I'd have never
Slowly
seen that if you had to say
I know. It just gets scary. Like, why are you looking at me?
Well,
So,
I mean,
okay,
I wasn't
question.
thinking about being able to
Rylan
hear
and
that. She
Brooklyn
said, I can
Inner
hear you
smiling
asking.
and
And I'm
looking
like,
around.
there's other girls back there. How you know it was me? She said, it was you.
Do you open? I know.
Hey, I'm breaking my fingers by doing it.
Guys, do y'all have any tips? Rylan and me now enter smiling and looking around. How do we?
Am I supposed to do this?
It's terrifying, actually.
It's 6:30 and that's when it's the
I
whole
can do
thing
like a
starts.
story.
Yeah.
Were you in the puppets last night?
That was Brooklyn.
Okay.
That was my sister.
She had that one, and something happened, and she just kept her mouth open the whole time. I was cracking up. She was so shocked. Oh, that's so funny.
I was trying not to die. It was cute. In a cute way. Yeah. So funny. You're all part of God's plan, and that mishap was one of us. Now, Rylan, thank goodness you're back, because I mean, I was telling Mr. Marshall here, you know, that he was going to have to be the leader if you didn't come back. 2 puppets. So if you need to make a quick escape, I think he's ready.
Yeah, Marshall's back.
Oh, you got it.
I don't know how to speak.
Zaylin, how you feeling, man?
About to go get your haircut.
Good and bad
I'm
at
gonna start dragging your rat tail.
That's okay.
I'm scared.
Look ridiculous.
You're scared? Don't be scared. There's nothing to be scared of.
Because I always forget, like,
Yeah. Do you want me to give you a little tap whenever you need to turn? Or do you know? I can give you a little tap tap.
My phone's out there.
Yeah, I'm doing the smile. I'm 100% gonna do the smile.
How are you doing that?
I just did this and I put my finger.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
I can do it.
All right, good evening. Can you believe that this is the last night of our journey into the jungle? Has everybody had fun? Do you want to have more fun? Great. Well, let's stand up. Who wants to help me? Come on. Let's come on up. Come on up. I think it's time to roll the gospel chariot along. Here we go. Roll the gospel chariot along. Roll the gospel chariot along. Roll the gospel chariot along. And we won't tag along behind. If our brother's in the way, we will stop and pick him up. If our brother's in the way, we will stop and pick him up. If our brother's in the way, we will stop and pick him up. And we won't tag along behind. If our sister's in the way, we will stop and pick her up. If our sister's in the way, we will stop and pick her up. If our sister's in the way, we will stop and pick her up. And we won't tag along behind. If the devil's in the way, we will roll right over him. If the devil's in the way, we will roll right over him. If the devil's in the way, we will roll right over him. And we won't tag along behind. Thank you for your help. Who else wants to help? Okay, come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Come on. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on down. The more the merrier. Okay. I think it's time for our lights. Who's got a light? We want a light. We got to light this place up. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine all the time, let it shine, oh yeah. I'm all wrapped up, I'm all tied up, I'm all tangled up with Jesus. I'm all wrapped up, I'm all tied up, I'm all tangled up with God. I'm all wrapped up, I'm all tied up, I'm all tangled up with Jesus. I'm all wrapped up, tied up, tangled up with God, oh yeah. Hide under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine all the time, let it shine, oh yeah. I'm all wrapped up, I'm all tied up, I'm all tangled up with Jesus. I'm all wrapped up, I'm all tied up, I'm all tangled up with God. I'm all wrapped up, I'm all tied up, I'm all tangled up with Jesus. I'm all wrapped up, tied up, tangled up with God, oh yeah. Won't let Satan get out, I'm gonna let it shine. Won't let Satan get out, I'm gonna let it shine. Won't let Satan get out, I'm gonna let it shine all the time, let it shine, oh yeah. I'm all wrapped up, I'm all tied up, I'm all tangled up with Jesus. I'm all wrapped up, I'm all tied up, I'm all tangled up with God. I'm all wrapped up, I'm all tied up, I'm all tangled up with Jesus. I'm all wrapped up, tied up, tangled up with God, oh yeah. All around Jacksonburg, I'm gonna let it shine. All around Jacksonburg, I'm gonna let it shine. All around Jacksonburg, I'm gonna let it shine all the time, let it shine, oh yeah. All right, great job. Who else wants to help? Who hasn't helped? Maybe some of my older kids. Yeah, there we go. All right, come on down. We got to keep standing up in the back there. Yeah, I see. I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir. I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir. I may never march in the infantry, ride in the cavalry, shoot the artillery. I may never fly over the enemy, but I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir. I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir. I'm in the Lord's army. Yes, sir. I'm happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. Now this worked last time, so I'm going to try it again. If you're happy and you know it, say roll tide. Roll tide. If you're happy and you know it, say roll tide. Roll tide. If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it, say roll tide. Roll tide. If you're happy and you know it, do all three. Roll tide. If you're happy and you know it, do all three. Roll tide. If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it, do all three. All right, thank y'all for doing that. And that took a lot from me because I'm from Tennessee, but I love y'all. I love y'all. Okay, so we have a verse that we want to talk about just real briefly, and I want you guys to say it with me. I want us to say this verse together. This is our theme verse for VBS, and tonight you'll be talking about Jesus as our Savior, and that's the plan that the Lord has. So let's say this verse together. For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. And what a wonderful promise that we have from God, that He is working all things for our good if we follow Him, if we love Him, and are called according to our purpose. And He has a plan for you. He has a plan for this world. And that means we're safe, we're protected, we're loved by our good God and by Jesus and the Holy Spirit. And I think we have some friends here tonight. Let's see what our friends have to say tonight.
Brooklyn, this week has been awesome. I can't believe it's our last night in the jungle.
I know. We've learned so much about how God has a plan, from the beginning of creation to Jesus on the cross.
Hey, Birdie, how's it going?
Did someone say party?
It's not really a party, Milo. We're celebrating what we've learned about God's plan.
Ooh, party for the plan. Let's go.
Let's think back. We saw God create the world on purpose with a plan.
Then we saw Abraham trust God, even when it was hard.
We saw Jesus being tempted but staying strong.
And then the cross, the hardest part of the plan, but the one that changed everything.
Sad part. But then, Jesus came back. Ta-da!
That's right. The story didn't end with the cross. Jesus rose again, and now we get to follow Him.
And now we're part of the plan too.
Wait, everyone's part of the plan?
Yes, everyone.
God planned for everything. Every animal, plant, star, everything.
God's plan is still going, and it includes all of us, every single person.
Even when we're scared or confused or not sure what's next, God still knows.
For I know the plans I have for you.
Plans to give us hope and a future.
We'll be bananas for everyone.
So let's leave the jungle remembering, God's plan is good. God's plan includes you, and His plan gives us hope.
Yeah, now I'm ready to go live it out and trust Him every day.
Let's do our jungle cheer.
God's got a plan.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
All right, let's introduce our puppeteers tonight and thank them for their wonderful job. First up, we have Rylan McCormick. Your puppet had more time than that. Hey, stand back up again.
Yeah.
Marshall Higdon. Where's Mr. Marshall? Yeah. Briley Quillen, whose sister was also here last night and did it, Brooklyn. So we say thank you to Brooklyn. and she'll be here later. And then Zaylin. All right, thank you so much for the awesome job. We appreciate you. All right, now it's time we'll dismiss our babies and toddlers first and then go up in ages. It's time for class.
Your puppet time got more time. Your puppet got more time than that. So no, get back up. What are you doing?
Just be awkward and just go back up to that time.
What are you doing? Get back up there.
I may or not did the awkward smile at the end. Oh, no.
You didn't? Promise? Oh, I don't believe it.
At the very end. I was up here.
Okay, it might be easier to do. I'm gonna borrow Milo from you.
We are done with Milo forever.
Forever. I feel like it would be easier to do a smile with a Milo. No, never mind.
His fur, his beard.
You know how whenever like people with like big mustaches and beards and stuff smile, and you just kind of have to like trust their eyes whenever they, you know what I'm talking about? That guy's like the exact opposite.
Yeah,
you can totally see everything.
He's got dead eyes.
Oh, he's scared. You just paused. I saw him just pause.
Ow.
I done heard it. Well, it doesn't look like it's too big of a crowd out there, so. Something exciting. The numbers.
Yeah, that's what I was like. They already went to their own church, but I know they said there were some other like things that kind of went into it not being super crazy like it was, but okay.
We've got a friend going to our class. We better get up. Get ready.
Now, is that working? Okay. Like I said, I hear myself, and it's hard for me to do this. This is the last night. I hope we gained something. I know I have, and I sure have enjoyed it. And thank y'all for your listening. We appreciate it. I spent the last couple of nights starting off with a kind of a short lesson here that I did in chapel, and it's one of those that I always get something that I really like. This is one of those things that I really like. It's a story from Scandinavia, and it's about a man who was cross and surly and critical, and he criticized everybody, especially his wife. It was kind of a constant, continual complaint about everything she did. Nothing was right. He found something wrong with everything that she did. Then one evening, during an especially busy time on the farm, it was hay time, he came home and he said, I work all day. Dinner's not on the table. The baby's crying. Cow's not been put up in the barn for the night, and you get to stay home and mind the house. And insinuated there wasn't any work to that. I wish I had so easy. I could get all of it done. Now, the wife handled it much nicer than she probably should have. She didn't get angry, and she sweetly and lovingly replied, Dear love, don't be so angry. Tomorrow, let's swap jobs. I'm going to let you know when she's setting him up. Tomorrow, let's swap jobs. I'll go work on the farm and bring in the hay. You stay home and mind the house. The husband agreed. He said, I could use a day off. he's not the brightest bulb on the tree, okay? I could use a day off. I'll finish your work in an hour or two and be able to sleep all afternoon. Next morning, the wife heads to the farm. Husband stays at home to mind the house. First, he washed some clothes. Then he began to churn the butter. Then he realized he needed to hang the clothes up to dry on the line outside. So he goes in the yard and hangs up the clothes. When he sees the pig run through the open door into the kitchen. So he runs to the house, and you know what he's done? He's already knocked over the butter churn. So now the butter churn's upset. Husband became angry and tried to catch the pig, which was now covered in butter from the churn, and he kept slipping out of his arms. And finally, running out of the door, the pig heads out to the yard. The husband, however, was determined that he was going to catch the pig, no matter what, until he saw the goat standing under the clothesline, eating the clothes on the line. So the man ran off the goat, caught the pig, put it up, took what was left of the clothes off the line, and then he went to get more cream for the churn, which the farmhands needed for lunch. So the husband began to churn more butter until he remembered the cow, shut up in the barn with no water and no food and no pasture, and lots of morning already gone. So he had an idea. Their pasture was a good walk away. He would put the cow on the roof because they had a thatched roof made of grass. And cows like grass. He's thinking. And cows like grass, and the house was next to a steep hill. And with a wide plank, he could get the cow on the roof and eat grass. Well, except the churn, remember the one the pig got into and the one that the baby could get into? He decided to carry the churn full of cream on his back to get it away from the pig and the baby, and he was going to take the churn on his back. Well, then he remembered he had to water the cow. So he bent down to get the water, and the cream in the churn turned over and ran down his neck and his shoulder and into the well. Well, then he realized he hadn't fixed lunch for the farmhands, and he still doesn't have any butter. So he put the cow on the roof and went to fix lunch. He decided he was going to cook porridge. So he put water in the pot and hung it over the fire. Then he began to worry that the cow might fall off the roof and break her neck. So he decided that he was going to climb on the roof and tie a rope around the cow, and then drop the rope down the chimney, and then go inside and tie the rope around his waist to make sure the cow was okay. Then he began preparing lunch until the cow fell off the roof. And as she fell, she dragged her husband up the chimney by the rope until he got stuck in the chimney. The cow hung halfway to the ground, and the man was stuck halfway up the chimney. The wife had gotten worried because husband hadn't brought them any lunch, so she came home and she sees the cow hanging in midair off the side of the roof. Well, you know what she does. She goes over there and cuts the rope to let the cow down, which also relieves the husband from being stuck in the chimney. The wife goes in the kitchen to see what's going on, and the husband's upside down with his feet sticking out of the porridge. The wife fishes the husband out of the porridge, cleans him off, and the husband says, "Welcome back. I have something to say. I'm sorry." He gave her a kiss, and he never complained again. And I like that little story because I suppose it talks about the fact that we tend to sometimes have a lack of respect for other people's work and their ability and how hard they're working. Sometimes it may be intentional, and sometimes we may have an inflated opinion of what we do. What I do is way more difficult than what they do. 2 Chronicles 20 talks about King Uzziah, and his fame spread far and wide. But it also says, about verse 12, I believe, it says, but his pride led to his downfall. And so basically what it's talking about is we sometimes feel this way. Proud, having the attitude that you're better than others or that you're more important than others, or showing the attitude that you're better or more important than others. A high opinion of somebody's importance or of somebody's superiority. That's just not the way we need to be. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 12, respect those who work hard. One version says, appreciate those who work hard. The little easy read version I told you about that they did for the deaf, recognize the value of those who work hard. One says, honor those who work hard. Romans 16 and verse 6, and then verse 12 is 2 verses from Paul. He talks in there about appreciating a lady named Mary. And it says in one version, she worked very hard. One version says, what a worker she has turned out to be. And the New Living Translation, who has worked so hard for your benefit. And so many times we forget this. Tryphena and Tryphosa, who worked very hard. Or one says diligent. One says who labored at many things. The Greek says who I like to sometimes look because they don't word things like us. And they put them in a different order. The Greek says, who much toiled. Always be thankful and cultivate this attitude of thanksgiving. I saw this and it says, in your life you'll meet many people. All are significant. They deserve your attention and care. And then I suppose I like that story. It was about a family, but sometimes we just we don't appreciate how hard people work. And I just think sometimes, especially people that we can sometimes take it for granted. So again, appreciate those who work hard. The lesson tonight is, it's kind of out of lesson 2 and lesson 4. I kind of got to doing several things in here because it really interested me, and hopefully it will be something. These 2 lessons in their introductory part talked about 2 things that were opposite, but they made a lot of the same conclusion. So we'll get to that. So we'll just take a closer look. All right, lesson 2's ideas was this thing that I really didn't know much about called quiet quitting. Now, you may not know what quiet quitting is. Basically, it's, I'm not going to quit the job, but I'm not going to bust it either. So let me explain it. This is what you'll do. You'll complete your jobs just in your job description. So whatever your job is to do, you'll click off all the boxes, and if it's not on that list, you're not going to do it. Refuse to take on any unpaid extra responsibilities. Volunteer to help with a special project? Nope, not going to do that. Decline weekends, decline holidays. But you're not going to make money. Well, it doesn't seem to be a big deal with them. It's Friday, it's 5 o'clock or whatever quitting time is, bang, I'm out of there. I'm not going to go. Decline coming in early. No, don't disturb me. I'm not coming in. Don't stay over late. Anytime. Take your vacation. Take your sick days. Take your personal days. And in some places, we're just too busy for you to do this. No, do that. Do this. Don't take work home. Nope, not going to do it. Don't think about work when you go home. It's quitting time. I'm gone. And you know, some people take it home. Don't check your work emails at home. You could put on a little thing, a response. I can't talk right now. Sorry, not sorry. This is how they're approaching work. If it's not mandatory, you don't do it. It's a really strange way for some people to look at how work is done. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do and nothing more. Still not on the list, don't do it. We talk so much in church about going the second mile. They don't go the second mile. They go the first mile. They do what they're supposed to, but not a step further. Now, I read some people, is going the second mile a religious thing? And you got it all over the board, people talking about it. Some said it's not. It's not. It's like, whoa. I hadn't thought about it. Why would you not say the second mile is church or religious? You know what their answer was? If you make somebody go the second mile, then it's not doing it from their heart. Hadn't thought about that. I'm not sure I buy it. But that's what some people say. I go the first mile, I do my job, but I don't do any extra. We say absolutely no to this work-life balance where it's all work and nothing else. Work takes everything's because it should be balanced. And we're going to be talking about that. Or maybe more like this. They don't really think work is that important. Okay, lesson 4 went to the other end of the spectrum. And they called it, these people, hustle culture. Now, they talked about this man, and his company grew, so did his hours. And he was working overtime and weekends and holidays. Big, huge work. He prioritized his long hours. Nights and weekends. I mean, he worked all the time. Middle of the night, he's still at it. If you went over on a weekend, a holiday, he was always at it. Maximizing output productivity. I mean, he was a worker. Achieving goals at any cost. Whatever happened, no matter what it took out of them. Little to no regard for the employee. In other words, the company just wrung it out of them. They didn't really care about their personal well-being. A lot of them neglected all sorts of things like rest or sleep or exercise or taking care of themselves physically. And that's kind of how they looked. It impacted their physical health. It was stress. There was high blood pressure, diabetes, heart problems, all sorts of things like this. They downplayed anything outside of work. You know what you were? You worked for that company. What was the goal? Profit. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. And put your nose to the grindstone. They had little time for family and friends and personal. And the book was talking about that this man, it was really hurting him. And so basically he kind of turned his back on family and at hobbies, taking care of himself, even church, because his whole goal was putting his nose to the grindstone and being at the beck and call of whatever the boss wanted. Activities such as religious, going to church, doing anything like this, social life, not having to miss the family Christmas again this year, having to miss the family vacation again this year, having to miss the big game again this year. What's missing in this? You know, it's those cute little signs. You are that person was. And they were talking about that this is what their life had become. It was almost impossible to take any time off. Basically, you could go in there and whatever your plans were for vacation, could be big trips. We've been planning it for a while. The boss would, do away with it, basically. There was just no time for the person's individual things. There was no time for vacation. There was no time for anything to do with family health. The spouse took care of it all. The spouse took care of them. They worked from the hospital. I mean, this is what they did. They struggled to detach from work, even when they got home. Look at the family dinner. What's he doing? He's on the phone and he's on his computer. And so this is what he's doing. Work meetings were almost impossible to get out of. So basically, nothing outside of work, everything inside of work. This is his whole goal. Doesn't matter if you're sick, doesn't matter anything about you. It was a culture of perfection. You got to do it right. It doesn't matter how long you have to stay. If you have to stay till 6, 8, 10, whatever it is. If you have to come in early, you got to come in early. Sorry, that's just the way it is. It's a feeling their work was never good enough. If you work at a place where you're not appreciated, you could say, well, you get a paycheck. Okay, I understand that. But do people respond better when you scratch them between the ears and tell them attaboy? Yeah, I think so. This they never did. And this kind of culture, this is what happened. It's always critical. It's an all or nothing mentality. What's your only outcome? Success. To be, we've got to make a profit. We've got to, whatever these things are, they got to do this or else. If you don't meet the goal, there was a lot of stress and anxiety according to them. This report wasn't good enough. Do it again. That could have been hours and hours of work. Just ripped it up and tore it up. It was a sense of emptiness. I'm not liking work. They don't like me. Nothing about it. It's just a very frustrating thing. They believed this, that their work-life balance was out of balance. It's all work and nothing else. And this is what happened. It should be balanced. It should be balanced. Their conclusions about this were about the same. Now, let me tell you how that both groups said how they were going to fix it. This lack of life-work balance. Now, they said, it's out of balance. I don't want it to get out of balance. I need this to be a better balance. So it should be this way. We need to prioritize this. We need to make sure that this is one of the things we did. The guy that was working all the time, well, he said, we're going to have to change. And both of them, especially the hustle guy, began to prioritize his personal life, his mental health over work, because he said he was getting sick. His health was suffering. His mental health was suffering. His personal life, his family life, his church life, everything was suffering over this work that he did. So one, place healthy boundaries around your work. One, he said, leave on time. Two, don't take your work home. I did this because it was one of those things that I think fit in right here. Don't bring the storm into the haven. Now, let me tell you what I'm talking about here. When you go home, it should be a place with peace and calm. Now, when you take all the problems from outside into home, into that haven where it's supposed to be good, well, let me tell you what happened. Everybody needs a trouble tree. If you've never heard this, well, hopefully you'll like this. Everybody needs a trouble tree. Worker had a bad day. He was having a bad day. It was just not going good at all. Then he decided to leave. It's time to go home, and his car wouldn't start. You know, one of those things. He got a lift home from one of his friends there at work. The worker had a bear of a day. It was bad. It was terrible. Nothing went right. He got fussed at. Nobody was happy. He said the guy that drove home said later it was total silence. He was mad. He was staring out. Wasn't fussing. He just wasn't talking. Now, he got there and he says, why don't you come inside and meet the family? Well, he didn't really think he wanted to be around him anymore because he was just not a real pleasant guy right there. But he invited him in, and so he said, okay, I'll come in. I can't stay long. And on the way in, the worker stopped at a tree. Now, according to the story, he took a moment and he put his hand out and he touched the tree. Now, he said it was just this amazing transformation. He went from this guy that was stony silence, nothing, to now he saw his family. He was smiling. He was laughing. He hugged them. He kissed them. He talked to them. I mean, it was just like this. Kind of like the little picture over here, he turned into a butterfly. Now, he went from a grizzly bear to a teddy bear. Just instantly. The worker had made a complete change when he got home. It's like he touched that little tree, and then after that, he was totally different. So he became, he wasn't the Hulk anymore. After a brief visit, the friend left, and they walked out to the car. He told him, he said, what's the deal with the tree? He said, something's the matter. He said, you changed, and it had something to do with that tree. He said, so what's the deal with the tree? He said, it's my trouble tree. So what's a trouble tree? He says, I know I'll have troubles and problems at work. If you work, you know what it is. You know that there's going to be days that are those kind of days. I know I'll have troubles and I know I'll have problems. But I also know they don't belong to my family. I know they don't belong to my family. I'm going to tell on a few teachers that I knew through the years that I had. And they would warn the students, I'm not feeling good, better stay out of my way because I'm not patting myself on the back like I'm some great guy, but I always hated that because it's like, it's not my fault you're having a bad day. It's not my fault you've got a headache. It's not my fault. So this is what I tried to do. If I didn't feel good, I tried to kind of maybe go over to be nicer than normal. Those problems don't belong to my family. So I leave all my work problems on the trouble tree when I get home. I just kind of leave them all there. Then in the morning, I pick them up and go back to work. He says, funny thing. He says, when I come back in the morning, it says, there aren't nearly as many as I remember the night before. You know, because a lot of these things that seem to be really important right then, when you let it have a few hours, they're not as important before. Because your family is a haven in a heartless world. And don't bring the storm into the haven. And so it's one of those things that's what we need to work on and make sure that we try not to do. Begin putting self and family time in your schedule. Resolve to make family your first priority this year. And you could go, well, we've had resolutions in January. You can make one in July. It's okay. Again, I talk about me because, well, I can relate to me. As a school teacher, you're required to put in work time at home. Now, if you think that they go in and they start at 8 and leave at 3 and that's all there is to it, I'm going to let you in on a secret. It doesn't work that way. Okay, because the stuff that you do there has to be done outside to a certain degree. Now, I decided really early in my teaching career that I valued the time with my family ahead of what I probably would have rather done. My daughter's here tonight, I'm proud to say. She lived through some of that, but I really did this. Therefore, I made a choice. I set my alarm at 4 a.m. I got up and I did my teacher prep, I did my grading, I did whatever had to be done for that day. I got up at 4 o'clock and did it from 4 o'clock till 6:15, whatever, to get ready for school. Now, if you don't get up at 4 is early. My wife, we laugh sometimes, she'd talk about the change of time, you know, and I would tell her at 4 o'clock it's dark. And when the time changes, it's dark. And when it's summer, it's dark. And so, I mean, there it is, and it's really early to get up. Now, why did I do it? So that we had some real family time. That's the purpose. That's the reason I did that. Now, the time between I got home and I went to bed, that was family time. I chose that would be my family time. And then I would make that 4 to 6 time in the morning the time I did my work. That's what it was about. Now, time spent with family is worth every second. Is it corny? Okay, maybe it is. Is it worth it? Well, is it worth getting up at 4 a.m.? Yeah, it was absolutely worth it. It was absolutely worth it. And I'm not telling you to get up at 4. I'm just telling you that to work it around to where you get time to spend. Okay, now there's a disclaimer here. I realize this. There are times where work must temporarily become your first priority. Now, I gave quarter tests in all of my classes. You come home with papers. Now, you got to grade them. I always tried to grade them till the next day. There's going to be time where that night it was kind of like, hey kids, we'll have a meal, and then I'm going to be working till, well, they went to bed. Now, that's kind of exaggerating, but not too much. There are times where work must temporarily become your first priority. Okay, that's a fact. We know that. However, don't let it stay there perpetually. It's temporary. That only lasts for a certain time. So again, it's one of those where make it a priority. Begin putting yourself and your family time in a schedule. It could be some kind of exercise or something you do for your own fitness. Family time to be together with them. Begin to sometimes say no to the extra stuff. Sometimes you have to. Not this time. Sometimes people who are real focused, it's hard for them to say no. Well, you may have to say no sometime. Take breaks. Take your vacation. Take your time off to be there for family. And see those things that you'll wish you'd seen a long time. So again, that's the kind of thing. Don't get stressed out if you're sick. Now, some people, I'm not going to be sick. Do you remember back in the long ago days when perfect attendance was there and people got an award for perfect attendance? We knew a family, good family, and I think the world of them, but he did not miss a day of school in 13 years, kindergarten through 12th grade. They said after he got out, some days he'd go with a fever, and some days he'd go with, he had been up in the night, throwing up. Now, as a teacher, I just as soon him not be there if he'd been throwing up or if he's running a fever. Give up to be sick sometimes, because that's one of those things. Give up to enjoy time with family. Be things like teacher conferences and so forth. One of them in the little thing was talking about, my tasks are not life or death. Now, I'm going to put something here. I always kind of like to put a little disclaimer. This is in corporate jobs. There are jobs that are life and death. This is different. I know it is. But these jobs are different. However, the reality is most jobs are not life or death. So I'm going to get back to this little poem. I read this. How important are you? All right. I'd never seen this till this week. Sometime when you're feeling important, sometime when your ego's in bloom, sometime when you take it for granted, you are the best qualified in the room. Sometime when you feel that you're going would leave an unfillable hole, just follow these simple instructions and see how they humble your soul. Take a bucket and fill it with water. Put your hand in it up to the wrist. Pull it out, and the hole that's remaining is a measure of how much you'll be missed. You can splash all you wish when you enter. You may stir up the water galore, but stop and you'll find that in no time it looks quite the same as before. The moral of this quaint example is to do just the best that you can. Be proud of yourself, but remember, there's no indispensable man. And it's sometimes we think that they just can't exist without me. I wrote that down before I found the little poem. If you want to know how much you'll be missed when you're gone, put your finger in a bucket and remove it, and the hole that's left will be how much you'll be missed. You may be missed, but does life go on? Yeah, it does. So let me give you an application. All right. I was a part of every sixth grade class. I told my grandson when he went in sixth grade, I said, he'll like sixth grade. I liked it so much, I did it 33 times. He goes, what? I said, well, I wasn't real good at it, apparently. I was a part of every sixth grade class at Marshall Bible School from August of 1987 to May of 2019. Then I retired in May of 2019. Marshall Bible School has had a sixth grade class every year from August of 2019 to May of 2025, this last May. Would you believe they did it without me? They do, don't they? They have driver's ed, don't they? I mean, it's some of those things that they did it without me as a sixth grade teacher. And I thought about this. Note the hole in the bucket. They're still having class. They're still going on. My tasks are not life or death. Your worth as a person is not defined by your labor. You're more than a whatever it is. I loved what I did. I absolutely loved what I did. But there was more to it than that. What do you do now that you're not teaching? I'm retired. Do you like it? Yeah. There's things that I enjoy. Life goes on. You're a child of God. You're wonderfully made, dearly loved, and precious in His sight. There's more to you than what you do. True success isn't measured by wealth. We kind of talked about this a little last night. Some people just chase money. Money's always going to get away from you. Money's always going to get there. Money's eventually going to leave you with nothing. We had the hearse and the U-Haul last night. We'll put the hearse with a roof rack on it. Does that work? Not going to work. Lessons learned. I'm not going to get into the negative points about this because there's some things here. One, the lack of second mile service. It's probably not good, but I think that that's something that's good. Go the extra mile. Whatever your hand finds to do, it says in Ecclesiastes, do it with all your might. This is P.T. Barnum. Whatever you do, do it with all your might. Work at it, early and late, in season, out of season, not leaving a stone unturned, and never deferring for a single hour that which can be done just as well now. You could say, well, that kind of contradicts. You're right. There's a balance in there. It's really hard. Where's the exact balance? That's different in everybody's life. If over 50% are these quiet quitters who just sit there and only do their task, it's not fair to the rest of the people who work hard. You ever heard that thing about 90% of the work is done by 10% of the workers? Work hard. You're expected to pull your own weight, not to weigh down your team. Okay, let's talk about these other folks. Burning your candle at both ends is not healthy. It's not good. It'll catch up to you at some point. It's going to catch up to you physically or socially or family-wise or your marriage. It can lead to you being burned out. I'm not good anymore. However, I do feel that they made some good points about their problems. Basically, it says that these good points, people can have an unhealthy emphasis on work. It should be balanced. You can make a living and make a life at the same time. And make that balance a priority. And they talked about it in both of these lessons, that the VBS lessons that we're talking about. They both had the same conclusion, but they came about it from a different direction. These guys right here and these guys right here. So what was their answer to this balance? Well, basically, when you do this, they said, I've been there and I've done that. I've lived my whole life to where my whole existence was working hard. I don't like it and I don't want it. I want to change it. And I want to change it to where there's a balance in my life. And that's what that lesson in the VBS book was talking about. You need to make sure that you keep that balance in your life. These guys did it the other extreme. They looked at people who had work as their only goal in life, and guess what they did? I hadn't been there. I hadn't done that. And I don't like it, and I don't want it. I want to keep it in this balance like this. They both valued this balance in their life. However, the VBS class book stressed what was of ultimate importance. Their impact on your spiritual life. Because it can have that impact. You know people that they ask for a Sunday because they get double time. Yeah, but what about church? Yeah, but to get double time. They don't mind working late. They don't mind whatever it is. It has an impact on your spiritual life. True success isn't measured by wealth. We've talked about that. That's a biblical principle. One's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions. We know that. If your riches increase, don't set your heart on them. Is it okay to have money? You've heard that. Of course it is. Of course it is. But don't set your heart on them. Don't put your hope in them. Watch out. Be on your guard against greed. If that's your focus is money and things and possessions. Those who trust in riches will fall. When your silver and gold multiply, it says in Deuteronomy 8, then your heart will become proud. Now, if you think that you don't need any help from God, then you'll forget the Lord your God. And that's what the verse talks about. This is this hustle culture. They're so busy being this corporate Superman that they have no time or energy left to give to their spiritual life. And that's one of the things that they really focused on. That the ultimate outcome is so many times they just don't have any time left, or they don't have any energy left to go to church or whatever. up at Rogersville where we go to church, there's a lot of folks that work from Huntsville. Now, if you've ever driven through Madison over there in Huntsville and going down 72 and then going across on 565, it's a terrible drive. Those guys will fight that traffic, fight that traffic coming back, and pull in there and walk into church. And never even go home, never stop for a meal or anything. There's a lot that don't do that, that wouldn't do that. And a lot of times you just don't have I got to go home. These guys are so busy being not committed to this active work role that a lot of times they say, look, they don't commit to doing anything. I don't want to be involved at church. I don't want to be involved in community organizations. I'm just not going to assume any kind of active life. Technically, there's lots of things that can interfere with your church life. We know that. Just take a look. I just threw some images up there. There's hobbies. There's little things like that evil little box that we always talk about. Phones aren't evil. They're nice, but I mean, there can be problems. It can be all manner of those things. Tell me what any of those are wrong. Can't do it, can we? But when that balance gets out of line, none of them should supersede or take the place of an active church life. Okay, priority 1, God. All right, what's 2? All right, I'm going to let you think. What's 2? It can vary. That's up to you. It's up to you. Keep God first, and the rest is going to fall into line. Conclusion, don't be lured away from God. Don't be lured away from God. I saw this little thing, and I see it, and basically there was this little fish. Can work tempt you away and lure you away from God? Yes. Can play work you and tempt you away from God? Yes. Whatever it is that takes you away from God, can it do that? Yep. You gotta look away. You gotta turn away. You gotta make sure you don't do it, and get away from that temptation. Don't be lured away from God. One of the things when I used to talk to the kids about temptation is when they make a lure for a fish, does it look good to a fish? Because if it doesn't look good to a fish, they're not going to eat it. They're not going to take it. Those things that lure us are things that we want. Don't be lured away from God. God reveals himself to his people in many ways. We've talked about this. Identifying himself by one of his names. Each name has certain characteristics that help us find comfort and hope. Now, we've begun those lessons on these first 3 nights. Now, we're going to conclude our lesson with a look at the name of God chosen for this lesson, called Yeshua. This is a shortened verb of Jehoshua. This is Hebrew for Yahweh. Remember, we talked about Yahweh is the name of God brings salvation. The Lord brings salvation, where it's Lord in all capitals. This is Hebrew for Yahweh as salvation. One teacher that I read likened it to Michael being shortened to Mike, and I understood that. Now, Yeshua. Yeh is a shortened form of Yahweh. Now, it doesn't look like that to us, but it is in Hebrew. Shua is a cry for help. It's a shout given when in need of rescue. I need rescue, and you're yelling out to God. Yahweh saves. The Lord is salvation. That's what it means. Now, one of the things that I always try to put in here, because I have to understand it, we want the Bible to imagine the folks back then speaking English like King James or whatever it is. It wasn't written in that way. So how do we go from this word Yeshua to having Jesus? Yeshua is a Hebrew word. Now, there's a problem. Most of the people in Galilee, most of the people in Samaria, and a lot of the people in Judah spoke Aramaic. Aramaic is a different language. That's a local language. So they spoke this language. Yeshua is an Aramaic word. So this is what people would have said. It's like the word Joshua. It's like the word Joshua. Jesus was basically called Joshua. Okay? It's like you can hear a lot of Hispanic people saying Jesus. They name their child Jesus. Now, they say they view it as the ultimate respect. I'm respecting Jesus and naming my child, and I want him to have those characteristics. This is the same name, except the New Testament wasn't written in Aramaic. What's it written in? Greek. They didn't have a Y. That's what it looked like. So when they wrote it in Greek, it looked like this it looks to us like an I. Now, the Y from Aramaic was also an I in Greek and Latin. So basically, this is what happened. They always wrote it I-O-E-S-U-S. There was no J in English till the 16th century. They didn't do it this way. So this is how they wrote Jesus. So when you were reading in your Bible, in early English, this is what you read. No. Yeah. This is how it was spelled. I wanted you to look at this. This is the Tyndale Bible in 1526. The birth of Jesus Christ was on this wise. When his mother Mary was betrothed to Joseph. That's what they wrote. So again, it's just kind of one of those that sometime when we look at it, there have been changes. Doesn't change what's there, but it could have been the forms. This is one that was Miles Coverdale. He translated the whole Bible from Latin. And when 8 days were ended that the child should be circumcised, his name was called Jesus. Yeah, but the King James wrote it like that. You know what the two words are? John seeth Jesus. They didn't write J-O-H-N? Nope, not in the King James in 1611. Believe it or not. Now, one early translation changed it from that to that, because that sound right there supposedly was more like the sound of the I. Okay, 1629, the first time they put a J in the name of Jesus. It was called the Cambridge Bible. Now, by the way, I want you to look at this. That's Jesus. Does it look that way? No. Now, they did use a J, but that's not an F. Now, I'm going to tell you, it looked like an F to me. That is not an F. From the 8th century, that's the 700s to the 1800s, they would write a lowercase s that looked like an F. Why did they do it? They called it a long S. So again, when you're seeing these things, this is in one verse. The Spirit of Jesus, look at the word there, Spirit. That's an S. See the middle of Jesus? That's an S. Look on the end of the word. That's an S. Yep. So again, I guess I'm just trying to remind you that it took some changes from what they wrote there in the first century to what we're looking at now. It took until 1808 to see Jesus. Now, I checked this, and for whatever reason, I put the little box over too far to the right. So scoot it over mentally, and you can see Jesus there. 1808 is the first time you saw J-E-S-U-S. Now, this was the Thompson translation, and the first one that was in the U.S. Before 1808, all of them had been printed somewhere else, another country, and the first Bible that was printed by a woman. Now, I want you to see this because it's one of those. But if you see it and you hear it, I want you to be able to go, I know that's wrong, not just because, well, it's obviously wrong. I want you to see this is wrong. There are people who say that the name Jesus is a reference to a pagan deity. No, you got to be kidding me. No, apparently some of them do. Now, they're wrong, and I'll tell you why. Now, some people say there's a connection between Jesus and this. Now, it's unfounded, it's not historical, it's wrong, and let me show you real quick why. Forewarned is forearmed. I don't want you to have somebody throw you a curve and say, look, this is a, well, you reckon? Nope, it's not. And I'll tell you why. This is what some people say. This is the Hispanic version, whatever, Jesus, right? You know what they'll say? Look, do you hear what they're saying? Jesus. That's wrong. That is so wrong. One, it's mispronounced, and two, it's a different word. Then there are people who say, look, looks like Jesus. It means healing Zeus. And they will tell you, you can find it, and they'll tell you that this is pagan. No, it's wrong. This means an interjection like or oh my. Has nothing to do with it. Totally wrong. Then, if you say the Greek version of Jesus, it comes out as Hail Zeus. If you don't know, it's kind of one of those little, it eats and erodes it. Well, wrong. This is the Greek version of Hail Zeus. Looks just like Jesus, doesn't it? Nope, sure doesn't. They have nothing to do with each other. They don't look the same. Oh, and by the way, this is the Greek version of Jesus. And they'll sit up here and they'll say, look, see this word right here? That means to honor Zeus. Zeus and Zeus. See? Well, that's nothing to do with Zeus. It's added to a masculine noun. However, Zeus does refer to pigs. So it has nothing to do with it. Therefore, anytime you hear that there is some connection, it's totally wrong. I'm one of those that I want you to be forewarned that there are people out here that are totally wrong. Matthew chapter 1, verse 23, they shall call his name Emmanuel, which being interpreted is God with us. His name shall be called Wonderful Counselor. His name shall be called Mighty God. His name shall be called Everlasting Father. His name shall be called the Prince of Peace. They shall call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people from their sins. And that's basically what we've talked about all week. The name of God, the name of Jesus, and what he does for us. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm through a little bit early, but hey, I had 340 slides, and so I'm through. And I appreciate you listening. I hope you got something out of it, and some things that I've said that hopefully will help you. Just visit, and again, I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you listening, and thank you very much.